morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Beginning of this year, my best friend Norman and I began studying for a monumental test in our career in civil engineering. For the first 3 months, we studied diligently for this 8-hour exam. And thanks to the many of you in this room, we had the encouragement and support we needed to pursue our studies. Today I want to share with you a few strategies I learned on how to learn effectively. We're going to talk about focus and diffuse thinking, fundamentals of thought patterns, conquering procrastination, and defeating our illusions of competence that we can get stuck up on. Now, what do we do when we get stuck? Sometimes we get anxious, we start banging our heads against the wall, and we maybe start to compromise our self-worth. What the best way to go about this is to actually divert your attention briefly. Maybe go on a walk, talk to a friend, or skip to the next problem on your test. When you come back, oftentimes you'll find that you have the solution that you need to solve that problem. Now let's dig into why this happens. First, we need to talk about the fundamentals. There's 2 modes of thinking: focused and diffuse modes of thinking. Now we're familiar with focusing, requiring deliberate attention to learn something new. And diffuse thinking, turns out, is more of a relaxed state of mind. Think chillaxing. So to explain these concepts, we're going to use a pinball machine analogy. On the left here, we've got the focus mode. These blue bumpers represent synaptic connections, and they're tightly packed together. This orange line represents a familiar thought, and when we pull that plunger on that pinball machine, the ball comes shooting out, our thought comes shooting out, and it hits the bumpers, making quick connections quite easily. Now this black line here represents a thought pattern that's not quite in our long-term memory, and we're trying to make this something easily accessible. Now, how do we access this memory? That comes through the diffuse thinking. When we release the thought and it shoots about, we're able to access all parts of the brain much more easily. This is when you have a big picture perspective and you're not caught in the weeds like you are with the focus mode. Diffuse thinking happens when you're relaxed, when you're sleeping, when you're exercising, you're doing chores around the house, or just chillaxing. The best way to form new neural connections is switching between these two. Short bursts of focused attention followed by relaxation and rest. Now, to first get started, we need to make sure that we're not procrastinating. This is a common problem today. Procrastination happens because it's a brain's natural response to doing something that we don't want to do. You actually feel a pain response. The best way to approach it is just to do it. And one of the best ways to go about it is to do the Pomodoro technique. Set a timer for 25 minutes and just commit yourself to 25 minutes of focused work. You don't need to accomplish any set task, just focus for that 25 minutes and reward yourself with a 5-minute break or some other reward at the end of it. Next, we need to talk about illusions of competence. Sometimes when we're studying, we find ourselves rereading the same passage over and over, or we're highlighting a sentence and not really absorbing it. When you come back later, you find that you haven't really learned anything at all. One of the better ways to imprint a long-term memory is to engage the visual parts of your brain. They have enhanced cognitive abilities for long-term memory. You can use something called the memory palace technique, where you associate specific concepts to rooms in your house or another familiar place. This is how the memory masters go about it. You walk around a room and you can explain an entire idea quite easily. Next, we're going to talk about spaced repetition. And this is what I used with Norman and when we were studying for our exam. By spacing out test questions, quiz questions, anything that tests your recall, you're able to better form neural connections. Last but not least, practice is very important. Neural linkages become more concrete through repeated use. And the more abstract the concept is, the more important it is for you to practice. When I was studying for my PE exam, I regularly use practice tests to monitor my progress and to make sure I'm really learning. And when I was monitoring my progress, I found I made a lot of mistakes. And that's where I really found I learned. I was able to dig into the problem, find a method that worked for me and that I could better understand. And I had the best study buddy I could ask for. Norman and I complemented each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we kept each other accountable. What I want to leave with you today is this: making mistakes is a good thing. Like when you're learning how to ride a bike for the first time, and you get in and you fall down, being able to pull yourself back up and learn from your mistake is the key to learning. Thank you.